Brendan Carr has now been tasked as FCC chairman. That's a great move. Brendan Carr is, of course, a senior Republican among the FCC's 5 commissioners. And just last week, as we talked about on the show, he announced that he was taking on what he called the censorship cartel, Facebook, Google, Apple, and Microsoft. He pointed out that these people have been coordinating via groups like GARM, for example, and NewsGuard in order to stifle advertising dollars going to alternative sources of information that are not legacy media. President Trump put out a statement on Sunday evening saying, quote, Commissioner Carr is a warrior for free speech and has fought against the regulatory lawfare that has stifled Americans' freedom and held back our economy. He will end the regulatory onslaught that has been crippling America's job creators and innovators and ensure the FCC delivers for rural America. That, of course, is excellent. Okay, right before his appointment, he sent that letter off to Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, Sundar Pichai, Tim Cook, warning that he believed that they were improperly censoring certain opinions. So Carr at the head of the FCC is a sea change from the censorial attempts by the Biden administration. So energy, Trump's going to blow things up. Communications, Trump's going to blow things up. And then, of course, he's going to blow things up over at defense. So as the Wall Street Journal points out, the federal workforce contains 2.3 million jobs. How exactly do those jobs break down? Well, apparently, those 2.3 million jobs are largely in the Department of Veteran Affairs, Homeland Security, Army, Navy, Air Force, Defense. There are about 116,000 in Justice, 108,000 in Treasury, another 92,000 in Agriculture, and 91,000 in HHS. Okay, those are the civilian employees only. That excludes active military personnel or reservists of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Okay, President Trump is coming in pledging to cut an enormous amount of this stuff. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they have pledged that they want to cut federal spending by at least $2 trillion. And of course, Elon Musk is famous for having come into X and immediately slashing 80% of the workforce. There are rumors that one of the first moves that Trump is going to make upon entering office is to cut literally 100,000 jobs from the federal workforce. Okay, I promise you that there are 100,000 jobs that certainly can be cut from the federal workforce without very many people noticing. Out of 2.3 million, there's a lot of dead weight inside the federal employee base. This is precisely the reason that they are very upset about Pete Hegseth in defense. They're afraid that he's going to come in and he's going to clean house. There's more on that in just a moment. First, using the internet without ExpressVPN is like using your smartphone without a protective case. Most of the time, probably fine. But all it takes is one accidental drop onto solid concrete to make you wish you had a case protecting your smartphone. Every time you connect to an unencrypted network at cafes, hotels, airports, you're essentially setting out a welcome mat for hackers to access your personal information. Believe me, these aren't the kind of visitors you want browsing through your data. Now, you might think to yourself, I'm not tech savvy enough to be a target, but here is the thing. Modern hacking tools are so accessible, even a middle schooler with basic equipment could potentially access your information. And your data is really, really valuable. Cyber criminals can make up to $1,000 per person selling personal information on the dark web. This is one of the reasons I use ExpressVPN. It's why I recommend it to everyone who asks. It creates an encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. When I say secure, I mean it. Their encryption is so robust, even a supercomputer would need over 1 billion years to crack it. What I love most about ExpressVPN is its simplicity. You just open the app, you click one button, that's it. It works seamlessly across all your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, so you're protected wherever you go. Right now, you can take advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute best VPN deal you'll find all year. Scan the QR code on screen, click the link in the description, or visit expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. By visiting my special link, you'll get 4 extra months with the 12-month plan or 6 extra months with the 24-month plan totally free. Again, that's expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. So, for example, Senator Alyssa Slotkin, the Senate-elect from the state of Michigan, she suggests that she is very, very upset about the possibility that Pete Hegseth will come in along with an executive order from Donald Trump and set up a board that will overview all of the various political generals that have been in place for a generation. She says, oh no, they might just fire people. Yeah, that's the feature, not the bug. That's a good thing.
I think they've been very clear that they're putting together some sort of panel that's going to look at generals, people who have served their nation their entire lives over multiple administrations, Democrat and Republican, in combat. They are now openly talking about dismissing them like some sort of kangaroo court. You can imagine the stress in the Pentagon about that, but also on the future of who we are as a military, right? Our military and the role of the military is in the Constitution for a reason, and I think we're really at risk of politicizing the military in a way that we can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Okay, so we can't put the genie back in the bottle? Hold on. You politicized the military. You on the left had General Mark Milley out there explaining that white rage was the biggest problem in the military. You and the left decided that the American military had to be turned into some sort of experimental laboratory for left-wing social policy, that we needed to fly the Pride Progress flag at military bases, that the best way to recruit soldiers to serve on the front lines is to tell them they might get a sex change operation. Like, this was your big idea, that wokeness was going to be the centerpiece. And not only that, you were going to be weak on defense. That what was America's defense apparatus for? It was really only for social engineering because, America's mean and bad in the world. Well, Pete Hegseth is not going to do any of that. That's the real reason people are angry at Pete Hegseth. They're finding bad excuses to come after him. So apparently they're very upset at one of his tattoos, at least one of his tattoos. He has two tattoos that are apparently very, very controversial. So one of them is a tattoo on his bicep that shows the Latin words Deus Vult. According to Travis Akers, a naval intelligence officer, he told the Washington Post that when he saw that, he found it was a Christian battle cry from the First Crusade in the Middle Ages, meaning God wills it. Though the phrase remains in use among some ordinary Christians, especially Catholics, Akers says his research showed that it had become popular with the Proud Boys, Three Percenters, and other extremist groups that participated in the siege at the Capitol. So apparently, this led this particular naval intelligence officer to actually question whether Pete Hegseth should be included in the military at all. Akers posted the photos to the app known as Twitter, calling the tattoos white supremacist symbols. The tweet was then forwarded to the DC National Guard's head of physical security, who soon warned Commanding General William Walker the Latin phrase suggested that Hegseth could be, quote, an insider threat. As he was about to be deployed, this is for the last inauguration, Hegseth received a call from his superior officer ordering him to stand down rather than report for duty for the inaugural events, according to an officer later briefed on the events, as well as Hegseth's own accounts in writings and interviews. Hegseth's removal from the mission became a seminal moment in his life. He has cited the episode in asserting that the military in which he'd served in 2 wars abroad and during riots at home following the death of George Floyd had become dangerously woke. In his telling, Guard officials were focused on a cross tattoo on his chest, not the Latin phrase that records and interviews show most concerned military officials. But of course, they're angry at the cross tattoo on his chest as well, which is, of course, a very common symbol, particularly in Catholic circles. This bizarre notion that Hegseth had to be drummed out of the National Guard because of his tattoos, based on somebody doing a quick Wikipedia search, is kind of insane. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.